Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Good morning. Still morning. 11:10 Colorado time. And we are recording, right? Yeah, we are. Okay, cool. Temperature 76, facing north, getting ready to turn east. Not a cloud in the sky, although there is haze today. I think that's the fire stuff from California drifting this way. How is everybody? Have a good weekend? I was really busy. Actually, I didn't get a podcast in or a blog either Saturday or Sunday. It's kind of nice to take a break, but I kind of get used to doing it. I get a little discouraged when I don't get much response back from people. So, having been doing this for, it seems like ever and ever and ever, and the number's not really climbing, it just kind of wears on you. So, this morning, I've been reading some pretty good research in neuroscience on neuroplasticity. And you'll find this one interesting. This is really cool. People who complain all the time, right? And what does neuroscience say about that? Well, it's actually the obvious, but it goes on the entire article, and then there's kind of a, video presentation about it as well from the psychiatrists. Actually, 2 psychiatrists did this research. And what it says basically is what you think is what you get. So we take the negative first, right? The people who complain all the time, who seem to not be happy with people or happy with situation or events, right? There's always something wrong. There's something wrong with the people they run into. There's something wrong with where they're at, the events they're going to, that sort of thing. And neuroplasticity says the brain has the ability to fix itself. It goes on to talk about the brain is like, what did they say? What was that stuff when we were kids, silly putty, or I think it was called silly putty. But the brain is kind of like that. It's kind of like putty. When we were little kids, we had the putty in your hand, and you could form it and shape it and make it do whatever you wanted it to do. Well, the brain's the same way. The brain has the ability to reform, reshape, restructure, and reprogram itself. Isn't that pretty cool? Now, we've touched on this before. I'll just barely do it this time, but, people who have trauma, injury, used to believe that, you couldn't repair that in the brain because there was so much damage done. Not even true. So whatever kind of traumatic injury you have had, could be, things that happen to car accident, brain injury, right? Stroke, heart attack, I guess grave emotional trauma can damage the brain as well, right? All of those things the brain can recover from. That cool? That's cool. So the study goes on to talk about, what if you're a constant complainer? What if you're somebody who, like I had just said a moment ago, nobody's right, no situation is correct, nothing's going to satisfy you. Well, guess what? Repetition, it says, and again, we know this. I mean, I don't know, these guys get paid for this stuff. Repetition, as everyone knows, is how the human being learns. There is no magic way to teach somebody something. There is no magic way to do that. There isn't a formula that's different than repetition. I'm just drinking plain bottled water. I got to get more bottled water in me. With the electrolytes, you guys. That's kind of important, but it's good. So we learn through repetition. Well, guess what? The guys or gals, I should, that are always complaining about everything, that's repetition. They're hard wiring those neuron connections so that their life is miserable. And they make life miserable for the rest of us to have to listen to them. And again, most of us just ignore them and walk away, or we start seeing less of that person, right? Well, guess what? It's the same thing with the program that you're in right now. If you're sick, you can think yourself well by pruning apart old thoughts and putting together new thoughts. Same thing's true for the person. Boy, the lake is just dried up. Ooh. Half of this lake, a quarter of this lake is gone. So the person who thinks negatively is not helping themselves because it's repetition, and they continue to hardwire those neuron connections. Neuroplasticity can't fix that. But we, and this is really important, in healing, any kind of healing, the study, the research, goes on to say we can heal through thought alone. Now think about that, you guys. We talk about that, and it's mentioned, and it's brought up, and I think people just kind of pass it by, and maybe we ought to give that a little more thought. We can heal ourselves through thought alone. So, same thing's true. Now, I'm going to use the example of the constant complainer. You guys use the example of a person with cancer that's constantly focused on the cancer, being sick, being angry, being upset, not being able to see the other side, just all the negatives associated with terminal disease. And again, that's what people do generally when they end up getting that death wish from the doctor. All right? So I'm going to talk in terms of the constant complainer first. And the constant complainer can change their thinking. Right? They can start thinking positively and blocking the negative thoughts. Now, at first, that's not going to just happen right away. You're going to start meditating on blocking, not allowing a thought to come into your head that's negative, where you complain. Yeah? So that's step number one. Step number two is you have to replace that with a positive thought. Life is good. I can tolerate this person. I like this person. He or she has good traits. Fun to be around. I don't know why I've made it such a negative thing. I like going to this event whenever it comes up. It's more fun than I imagined. I am so glad I just slowed down long enough to realize how much fun this event is. So again, you're just pruning apart the negative, taking those neuron connections and separate them so that they're not connected any longer. And you're putting in place of that positive. Positive thoughts, positive neurons, so that they can wire together, and eventually with repetition, remember, they can wire together, hardwire together. So that's kind of where the research went. Now, it had a lot more detail in it about different types of negative people, so to speak, and personalities and just stuff of that nature. But the gist of the whole report is what I just passed on to you guys. And stuff we all know, stuff we work on in our program currently and have been for months and months and months. So Dr. Joe had a new video this morning, and he had a lady, this is down at the Cancun week-long workshop, which was, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. And she got up to do her testimonial. This one just blew me away. And I don't know, lady in, let's just say 50. I have no idea. And she's had this Parkinson's type tremors for 30 years. That's why I said she was 50. I have no idea what her age is. And she's been treated by neurologists everywhere, in her area of where she lives. I don't know where she lives. And she's been through all kinds of various treatment, from pharmaceutical medication things that just had so bizarre side effects. One of them was that she hallucinated. Now think about that. I know that's kind of sad. And she went back to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, your disease is worse than the hallucination, so just keep hallucinating. Whew. I don't know where to go with that, other than don't go to the doctor. And she had some medical procedures. She didn't talk much about that, but there were some medical procedures that were supposed to, eliminate the tremors. And the tremors, what did she say? They were 15 every few seconds, as high as 18 every few seconds, and then times that per minute. It was an ungodly amount of tremors in 1 minute. And they're constant. She wasn't crying. I mean, she was holding that stuff back, of course, because she wanted to get through this. And so she comes to this Cancun workshop, 7-day workshop. And now, mind you, she's been this way for 30 years. Every imaginable treatment modality the doctors can come up with, and they're flat out of ideas. And they don't even know what to call it. I mean, they all gave it a different name, but it's kind of a form of Parkinson's. Wow, just amazing. She comes to the Cancun. My house is looking very, very, very good. They've got most all of this shingle siding on to the lower wall. This is going to be the most amazing house in our area. Wow. So she comes to the Cancun workshop. She's there day 2. They did meditations day 1. And then day 2, they did a walking meditation and one other one. I'm not sure what it was. The walking meditation was an hour, and then there was another one after it for an hour. And she could have just, said, I'm disabled. I'm not able to do this walking meditation for sure. I can't even put my feet next to each other, close to each other, because of the trembling and everything. I would fall down. I have to have walkers and canes and all kinds of things to stabilize me. She didn't say that. She just showed up at the 5:30 time. I think it was. 5 o'clock time. And she just showed up to do the walking meditation. And the way Dr. Joe sets it up is that you get a kind of like what you're supposed to be meditating on during your walk, and everybody's supposed to be meditating on designing the new you. So if you're sick, you're going to do your walking meditation, visualizing, thinking, talking internally about seeing yourself as a new you and leaving the old you behind. Anyway, she does her walking meditation for an hour. Towards the towards the end of the workshop, Dr. Joe has various people that have had recovery, healings, come up. Some don't know they're going up, to talk in front of, 1,400 people or 1,800 or 1,200 or whatever he has at the workshop. And some are just put in front of a camera and they're told to, just give their testimonial of what happened in front of a camera, just with nobody around kind of idea. You don't get to pick that stuff. And so she was called up and she talked for, and again, frightened, as always, when you go into the unknown, which being told to talk in front of 1,400 people and you've never done it is probably the unknown and probably a little frightening, I would guess for sure. So she gets up and she starts talking and she's doing fine. And she gives her whole story. And she's talking about, my feet are together as I'm talking to you people. And I haven't been able to do that I recall since I was a little girl. For the past 30 years, I've had to have canes and walkers and, keep my legs balanced well enough so that I can stand. And the doctors have all said I would be in a wheelchair very, very soon. And all of the pain from the tremors and the disease, obviously that's a disease she has, was all gone. Gone in her feet, gone in her ankles, gone in her arms, her legs. Every symptom that she had had for 30 years and been treated for time and time and time again from one neurologist after another. Everything was gone. Everything. And of course, Dr. Joe gets up and, is supporting her to get through, her testimonial and just interacting with the audience as she's talking. And, what a beautiful woman. And here's the takeaway. And I hope you caught it by now, anyway. Dr. Joe says to the audience, 30 years, she's healed and cured in 1 hour. Through hooking in to the unified field, which is the source, which is infinite intelligence, which is your creator, which is oneness, which is wholeness, which is every living thing in the universe. And all of that power, through thought and meditation, time and again, workshop after workshop, people are miraculously healed of degenerative, terminal, in some cases, disease that was humanly impossible to cure through medicine, traditional medicine. And here's another case, another story of this lady with this Parkinson's type disease for 30 years. Cured, not remission, cured in 1 hour. So it's Monday, everybody. I hope you planned your day. Hope you planned your week. Hope you have designed your future. God bless everybody. Take care of one another. And I'll look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you. Bye.